Hi everyone, so my name is Dr. Asalet and I am a surgical doctor with a special interest in aesthetics. I have been thinking about making a YouTube video for a really long time, honestly painstakingly, thinking back to probably, gosh, as far as I know myself, even before YouTube era, I was always recording myself doing dance videos, yeah, so much. Anyway, we digress. So finally, I thought I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to do it, no excuses, I'm going to put it out there. And what better way to start than to answer questions? So I had a video that went viral, or actually two videos, similar topic that went viral on TikTok and on Instagram. And essentially it was about, sorry, a bit of fluff there. Essentially it was about me and my lifestyle and kind of my history. So I got married at the age of 17 and I had a baby at the age of 18, and I made a video about this, trying to empower women, just to say, you know, you can be anything you want, you can do anything you want, your lifestyle or things that happen to you doesn't define your future. Of course, you know, I always know there's going to be haters, there's going to be people who don't agree with you, there's going to be different mindsets, etc. But I didn't expect, I guess, a couple of the comments, it really surprised me. And it's the learning curve. If anything, I think it teaches you that, bless you, that social media is exactly as it is, and I guess all the stigma that comes with it, there's places where that does exist. Anyway, so I'm going to go straight into some of the comments that I'm just going to debunk some of the myths. So people have said, she must have had a lot of support and help from her family. Don't tell me she did it all alone. Bet the dad wasn't even in the picture. You're completely wrong. You lost the bet, honestly, because the dad was there all along. I'm incredibly grateful. I've had all the support that I'm really grateful for. But it's surprising that people want me to write this, literally make like a disclaimer under a post that I made that was supposed to be fun, that was supposed to be empowering, yet it seemed to annoy a population of people that I didn't actually write thank you, like a thank you speech to all those who supported me. That was not the intention or the purpose of the video. I'll put a link of the video, so if anyone wants to check it out, you can check it out. But yes, so you're completely wrong. I had different levels of support throughout, obviously being a young mum and then going to university with a young baby, or toddler at the time, I think it was 1.5 years. And everything, you know, because it doesn't come as easy as people think it does. So I am first generation into higher education. My parents did not go to university. They don't really have, I guess, an education background. I love them to bits, and if anything, I think whatever you go through in your life or the people that are with you, what matters is the love that you get, the love that you get. They don't need to have a sophisticated level of education. Parents are parents. Love is unconditional, and I'm incredibly grateful to say that obviously I had that growing up. So regardless of whether or not they were educated or not, you know, I basically first generation did higher education. Anywho, parents obviously were very supportive, but there's only so much you can do. People have different events that happen in their life, circumstances that are beyond their control. So that level of support, as people would like to believe, isn't as consistent as you might hope it to be. So yeah. Without her family support, she would not be here. You really think it's fair on parents? Young daughter getting pregnant with an illegitimate child, landing a bombshell on the parents and putting them through a hell of stress. Lots of spelling errors. My toxic trait, just cannot ignore this, but anyway. The fact that people claim that it's an illegitimate child, but also to actually make that comment, I think is just so rude for people who have children out of wedlock, by choice or by not choice. But also, it's also not true in my case. So people are jumping to conclusions. So this is a couple of the nasty comments that I had to kind of bring attention to, mainly because now a lot of people might think, why are you focusing on the negatives? I'm at a place at the moment in my life where I am content. I've managed to obviously push through all the obstacles that have come in my pathway trying to stop me to get to where I am today. So I'm content, I'm happy. But I remember that little girl, I remember that young girl who had her dreams, and to be honest, a lot of times people try to crush her dreams, try to tell her she's, dismiss her dreams, dismiss what she wants to do, and tell her exactly what her life will look like, or that she made a mistake. And I think of that young girl, and I think there are still young girls out there in those circumstances, or even worse, unfortunately. This is why I want to bring attention to it, because I want to talk about it. I want to change this narrative. We have to change this narrative. If I can get to where I am today, albeit with support, without support, whatever, it's not to boast about my successes, because I don't need to prove that to anyone. But if anything, I think it's allowed me to create a platform where I can hopefully empower other people. So that's one of the reasons. A lovely comment that someone has said is, I was pregnant at 16, now I'm 38, finished university, working as a manager in a big company. Wasn't easy, but not impossible. Exactly. This is what we need to celebrate, what we need to bring attention to as well. So fantastic. People just seem to focus. So there's a lot of comments. I'm not even going to read them all out individually. I'm just going to put them all up on the screen somewhere. But basically, a lot of people seem to think that I have to reveal the information that I had a hell of a lot of support, and that it would not have been possible otherwise, as if to dismiss any part of my involvement in actually getting here. Whether you have a child or not, whether you get married at a young age or not, whether there's adversity or not, studying medicine is not an easy course. It's not an easy degree in itself. So no matter what people want to say to themselves, make themselves feel better, whatever it is not an easy degree nonetheless, even if you have support. It's not like I had all of this support and then I just sailed through university. I had to revise for exams. I had to do the groundwork, the hustle to get me through. I had to have the motivation, even when things went downhill, when I failed exams, or any situation or scenario when unexpected things happen, because life doesn't just go in a linear format. Lots of things can occur along the way. And I think a lot of the time people seem to assume, I guess they focus on things that will make them feel better about themselves. So it's more of me presenting myself to the world, and how that's perceived by people will depend on the insecurities or elements that they want to focus on themselves. So I don't take it personally. But the key to kind of making this video is to debunk the myths, but also hope to empower young women or men out there who need the inspiration to think and see, as an example, that there is someone who I can see has managed to do something that they're happy with in their life. They managed to be financially independent, and maybe, I guess, in a way, if they can relate to me in some way or another, that it will help them to focus on their dreams, on their ambitions. And actually, once you focus and align your focus on your goal, then things become much more simpler, things become much more easier, and everything outside is external. That's the key. I'm going to go through a couple of other things actually. Again, a lot of the questions are about early pregnancy, and a lot of people have actually said that I am promoting pregnancy in teenagers. Now, my platform obviously is a professional platform, given my background being a surgical doctor, but also I think as a female, I am not promoting anything from my part of my life to say that everyone has to do exactly the same to get same outcomes or similar outcomes. That's not true in life. Whatever you do in life, it's never the case that, you know, you can copy and paste and do exactly the same. Everyone's life looks different. I am not promoting teenage pregnancy, but at the same time, I'm not going to even comment on it, because if it's happened, it's happened. You cannot focus on that. You need to focus on actually supporting the person. That's the key. Support the person who is going through life-changing events, where if you think they're too young and naive to be able to deal with it, support them, don't judge them. That's the point. I had a lot of judgment. We'll go into a bit of my story, I guess. So I met my husband, we got married within a month, honestly, fell in love. And how did I know is a very good question, and I think it's really hard to kind of answer that. It's difficult. I think it was right at the right moment at the right time, and we made it work. We met, married within a month. Family, as contrary to what people think, it's not an arranged marriage. I had a baby at 18, and it was at the end of my F2 year. So I had to take a year out because I couldn't sit my exams. I had a C-section. God, there's a lot more to the story. I'm just not sure how much I should actually say because I'm quite a private person, believe it or not. But at the time, my husband was here. He was he didn't have British nationality, and just at that critical point in time, a week before my C-section, things developed quite quickly. My son was breech. I was 18 years old, just married. My husband was my main financial provider. Everything, honestly, he was everything. And I don't know what happened, what triggered it, but suddenly the government decided that they wanted to make him illegal, and they decided to, he was taken away from us. He had to go for a sign-in. At the time they used to call it like sign-in, where if you're legal in the country, you have to go at specific points and sign in to declare, and I guess in a way show yourself. I don't know, I don't understand it. But he went to sign in, and they were like, actually, well, we've decided that you're now illegal in this country. And they didn't let him go. His phone was switched off. Don't know why I'm getting emotional. This was a long time ago. I guess I'm reliving the moment. Yeah, I'll skip ahead. But yeah, so I went to see him a couple of days before my C-section. Really sad, but he was basically deported. We decided not to open a court case, not to appeal, because it was just going to take ages, and he was probably going to be in camp for a very long time and miss seeing the baby. And it was easier to actually have him deported and reapply for a visa, a marriage visa, and then bring him back. So that's what we did. So, God, I'm trying to like fight back the tears. I cannot believe I'm getting this emotional. Anyway, so I was deported. I had baby. My mum, honestly, the biggest supporter. She was with me the whole time, all the way throughout. I didn't have much money. Deportation meant no salary. My mum, honestly, she's a rock. She made her best efforts to make sure that I didn't feel like I'm missing out as a parent, that I'm able to get things and provide for my son. And we just prepared, and then I had the C-section. Honestly, had no idea what to expect, but went through everything as life gives at you. It throws at you, you just go through with it. And then I tried not to have a C-section, something called an ECV, which basically they try to externally rotate the baby. Didn't work, so I had to have a C-section. The reason I was strongly against having a C-section wasn't for my own comfort or the risks or whatever. It was mainly because I wanted to be able to travel as soon as I can to apply for the visa for my husband and bring him back. But I couldn't do that, obviously, because you're not allowed to travel for 6 weeks after having an operation, especially on your tummy, because you're at higher risk of having clots. I waited till week 5, and flew out as soon as I can, did all the paperwork, came back, and then I had to have another emergency operation. I won't go through the details, there's lots of other details and stuff that happened along the way. When I came back, had another emergency operation, and basically ended up not being able to go to his interview. That was the lowest point that I can remember in my life, where I just felt like I've tried so hard to hold it together, because everyone was so upset by the situation, and I wanted to be that strong person. I didn't want to cry, thinking if I cried I was going to cause any damage to my baby. I didn't understand. I thought, you know, stress will somehow, I don't know, bring up some sort of congenital abnormality. I was so afraid. So I was in denial, you know, pushing everything aside. I think that's when I broke, completely broke. You can probably hear it in my voice now. Because I feel so sorry for that young girl, you know, carrying the world on her shoulders. And throughout this point, I always wanted to be a doctor. That hadn't changed. But as it depends on whether you're a believer or not, I'm a strong religious, spiritual person, and I believe in my own personal kind of beliefs that when you get to that point where you cannot function anymore and things are too much, God finds a way to bring you ease. And that's when it happened. He came back, and he supported me throughout my training, came to my medical school interviews. We've always gone on chats, talked about everything, all my plans, all my dreams, and he's always supported me. So 100% grateful. So of course I have gratitude. But I don't need to show my gratitude on social media, and I don't need to show my gratitude and display it to the haters. I need to show my gratitude to my husband, who's been a rock in my life. And I hope, you know, that he would also equally agree that that's the case. So yeah, fast forward, I had first baby obviously before medical school, second baby during third year of medical school. That's another story in itself. God, I feel like there's been so many events. I'll probably have to make a separate video on that, because this video will be hella long. But yeah, that was a different issue. And then third baby at the end of F2, when I found out I was pregnant, by complete surprise, blew me by surprise. That's again another story. But it was unexpected pregnancy, and I had to take a year out and then reapply for course surgical training. And yeah, so here we are. So I started doing aesthetics when I was in, I think just after, during maternity leave. I went into training for aesthetics. Started investigating, what is aesthetics, what is this, shall I do this? I just felt a bit of a loss. And I think the key part is, whenever you're not sure about anything, research, find out, explore what's out there. It's very hard to go out of your comfort zone, and sometimes you don't really know what you're going to get back in return when you go outside of your comfort zone. But actually that's where all the learning, all the beauty of experience comes from. And I've learnt to embrace the unknown. I used to be, and probably still am, a bit of a crazy perfectionist. But you learn through life and what life gives you that actually, no matter what you do, life will play out. It will play out. Things will happen, sometimes beyond your own control. But what you can do is actually try your best with what life has handed down to you and make the most of that situation. But also, it's not a be-all, end-all. Things will come and pass. There will be hills and valleys in your life, and you just need to keep focused, be grateful for what you've got, because trust me, there is always someone worse than we are. I wanted to make this video mainly because I think there's been a lot of stigma around what I've posted. There's also been incredible support, and I want to say thank you so much to everyone who supported as well. But I think this is probably a nice introductory video, although I went into a bit of an emotional sense too. we'll see whether or not I keep that or cut that out. But I think there are good people out there. I started off my social media initially to talk about my aesthetic practice, because I was never really confident. I always thought I have to do this to be able to find a different avenue, I guess, because I was so confused about what to do with my life at that point. But I'm so grateful that I did, because it's given me another passion, it's given me another hobby. But also, I never really thought I would enjoy social media. And now, I think this is another area that I'm exploring and I'm enjoying, and I just love that I'm connecting with people on here as well. So let's see. But I hope that with whatever I'm putting out there, that you guys are getting value from it. So please, please, please use this video as an opportunity to comment, give me I guess ideas about what you would like to see on my channel, on my in general my social media, because I think whether directly or indirectly, my content has morphed into an empowerment, female empowerment page, lifestyle, work-life balance, balancing 3 children with surgical training, with aesthetics, with entrepreneurship, and social media. And being an introvert, I never, honestly, if I had to think back to that young girl Aslet, the only thing I can say that is stable from then to now is that she believed in herself. She had this strong feeling that her life is not is not going to be as what people are telling her. There's so much more to it, and there's so much more she can give to this world. And I've always had this strong feeling that I have got so much that I can give to the world. Whether that's one person, honestly, one person that I empower, whether that's 100,000 people, I don't know. That's amazing, and that's it for me. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining in, and I am going to stop making the video from here. So thank you so much for joining in, and if there's any other content that you want me to create, whether that's about work-life balance, vlogs, getting into medicine, I know that there's lots of content out there, but if you want me to share my experience, let me know. But thank you so much for listening, and I guess as usual, this is where we plug in. Please like, share and follow and subscribe to be able to help me grow my channel. Thank you so much everyone, take care.